active income, passive income will come into the picture. Apart from that, uh, during the journey, we take a lot of commitments, we take loans, we get into liabilities, we have to buy things. Passive income creates one more source of income to help us uh, grow financially as well as live happily. Additional source of income is always required. Okay. There are multiple ways of creating a passive income. Okay, we'll see one by one. Or can somebody says what are the sources of creating a passive income? Either you can put it in chat box or you can unmute and share. Uh, what are the different ways of generating passive income? Okay, freelance, correct. Doing a freelance work. Very good. Any other ways? First of all, why do we invest? When we invest, what is our objective? So real estate, rental income, yeah, that is also a good source of passive income. Many people they construct extra home or extra property and they let it out and they generate rental income. That is a good source of passive income. And doing a part-time job, very good. Yes, yes. These are all some of the sources. Nice. I think I'm getting some good answers. Okay, one, we'll see why do we need passive income. We'll also see some of the examples of passive income. And uh, in the later sessions, not only in this session, later session, how we can invest in different assets to create that kind of a passive income, be it equity, stocks, or be it debt instruments like FDs or provident funds or post office bonds, and then commodities also we can use to generate passive income. Of course, real estate, as some people mentioned, rental income and capital appreciation, we can use it for capital passive income generation. So everybody starts with this income. Okay. One of known person, like let's say his name is Ramesh. Okay. Ramesh, his salary is 1 lakh. Okay. Every month he's getting a salary. He's working in a private limited company or he's working for a particular company, a private job, and he's generating 1 lakh income. This is his income. Okay. After income, what will happen? He will have some expenses. Let's say his salary is 1 lakh and his expenses are 60 to 70,000 rupees. Okay. Let's say 60,000 is 50,000 is basic expenses, 20,000 is a variable expenses. Total 70,000 he needs for his expenses. Okay. I'll repeat, 1 lakh is salary and 70,000 is his expenses. How much is left over? Around 30,000 rupees. Now, most of the people, what they do is they buy some they get into some liabilities. Either they buy car or they buy house or they buy some luxuries, whatever. And the remaining 30,000 rupees will be committed for next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years or 20 years. And this will go on till they complete that liability. Correct? I hope you all agree. This is what typically happens, right? Whatever the I'm getting a salary, some of them will go for expenses, some of them will go for liabilities. How many of you agree, or how many of you don't agree? Okay, so this is a different way. Okay, now instead of getting into this liability, what we can do is we can move that 30% of the savings, like Ramesh's salary was 1 lakh, his expenses were 70,000 rupees. Instead of getting into that 30,000 rupees liabilities, let's say he moved into some savings and investments. It will, over the period of time, same you can take 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years, where I have to fulfill that liability. Instead of liability, I'm getting into savings and investment. What it will do is it will generate a passive income. Suppose Ramesh invested in bank deposits, it will generate interest, passive income, interest. If Ramesh is invested into some stocks, it will generate capital growth and dividend as a passive income. If Ramesh is invested into mutual funds, it will generate an income over the period of time as a systematic withdrawal plan. Okay. So assets or savings can be any instrument, but they will generate some additional source of income. Let's say over the period of 5 years or 10 years, whatever the 30,000 Ramesh is invested, assuming his salary remains same and his expenses remain same. Let's say his salary is 1 lakh, his expenses are 30K, and this savings over the period of time it generated an income of 30,000 rupees. Okay. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ, 70,000 ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ಸು, ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದು 30,000 ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಬದಲು ಅವ್ರೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, EMI ಕಟ್ಟೋ ಬದಲು ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಸೇವ್ ಇನ್ and invest. That will generate 30,000 rupees income. Now, what Ramesh can do after some time, he can move that extra income. Some of the income can be used for additional expenses. Some of the income can be used for now he can take some commitment, he can take some liabilities and use that liabilities to be paid from additional income. And additional income can also be reused for investments and savings. Okay. So in this example, 1 lakh was his previous income, 70,000 was his expenses. The remaining 30K, initially he moved into investments and savings, which generated him a passive income. This passive income, he is using another 10K for expenses, another 10K for liabilities, or another 10K for savings and investments. Very simple, but difficult to follow. In your circle, if anybody is there, any people who recently started their job or recently uh, they started working, they started getting salary, this simple formula they should apply. What is my income? 50 to 60% I'll use it for my expenses. Remaining 40% or 50% I'll use it for savings and investments before getting into liabilities. At least for some 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, build a solid foundation. Then that will generate an income. That income can be, additional income can be used for my additional expenses or additional liabilities or creating some more sources of income. Clear? Any questions, any doubts in this? Is it easy to follow or is it difficult to follow? Any thought process, any questions?